Welcome everybody to the next episode of the Cannabis Review. I'm delighted to be joined on this episode by Felix Sundström, who is the co-founder and CEO at SpectrumLeaf. How are you keeping today, Felix?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. Thank you very much for coming on the show. We're looking forward to talking to you. You've got some of the most innovative products on the market, so we hopefully give all the audience an overview. Can you maybe give everybody a quick brief of the SpectrumLeaf story, how you found yourself in the cannabis industry and how you found yourself setting up SpectrumLeaf?
Yeah, so my background is from tobacco. I've been working with Snooze product and oral nicotine products for 15 years prior to coming on board here. We came across a brand called Cannabis, which we found very interesting. It's a Humboldt-based brand. My mission was then to, as with my background from the smokeless tobacco in the Scandinavian European markets, to bring that product into Europe. So we founded SpectrumLeaf, and on that note, we also launched Cannabis. We started with some markets, main markets for smokeless tobacco products, snus products, which are Scandinavia, but also Germany, Switzerland, Austria. Try to build a distribution network, and which has grown ever since. So we have 15 markets from as of today. We're selling the products in, and then we try to extend the portfolio. But the main mission for SpectrumLeaf is really to bring in new novel type products with a functional focus. So we're focusing on functional delivery mechanism, especially within oral absorption. And then from there we launched a brand called Elevar, and then Voom is our latest brand.
Okay, so you've got a couple of brands under the umbrella. I was reading about the Voom Innovation Lab. Can you maybe give everybody, that's the R&D function of the company, and that's where you're coming up with the most innovative products, is that correct?
Yeah, so that is a brand, or actually an R&D company that was founded between myself and SpectrumLeaf, and a team of Swedish snus entrepreneurs. Frank Svandal, who's the CEO, he has a quite substantial experience from both production, sales, and also distributing nicotine pouches. But together we founded then the Voom Innovation, which is an R&D company based in southern Sweden, which really focusing on how to increase and make the absorption in the oral cavity more effective.
Okay, interesting, because it's great to see. A lot of the time you see people setting up businesses who are just cannabis focused. I think some of the most successful brands that are going to come from this industry of people who have already been established in other areas, as you said, like tobacco, and they're able to translate either the consumer want and need into the cannabis industry, or utilize the innovation in the cannabis industry for new product creation. Are you seeing that yourself?
Yeah, for sure. And as I said, my background is with the oral pouches, and we always seen that, or my view has always been that it's a very effective way of providing consumers with a smokeless alternative. The oral cavity is a fantastic place to absorb various different types of active substances. It's not only nicotine, but in this case, different cannabinoids and other types of active substances.
Okay, can you maybe give everybody a brief view of what is snus and why is it going to be effective in the cannabinoid industry?
So snus is basically tobacco, moist tobacco, which you put on your lip, and instead of inhaling the tobacco or the nicotine, you absorb it in the oral cavity. So it goes through the mucous membrane and then directly into your bloodstream. And you can apply that technology to other types of substances. In our case, we believe that by providing a pouch type product, we don't have to eat and swallow and digest the substance that you take. It doesn't have to go through the liver, and it gets more effective with the absorption in the oral cavity. But it's a very safe and a better alternative to smoking, because smoking of today, everyone knows how dangerous it is, and the downsides that comes with it.
Excellent. And do you see, for stuff like snus now, obviously CBD is the big cannabinoid that everybody uses on the market, but do you see companies starting to blend and formulate different cannabinoids and terpenes to bring new ingredients, shall we say? Because I think that's where a lot of the big innovation will come over the next 5 to 10 years. Who's built the perfect recipe for the perfect consumption method?
For sure, and Voom Innovation is looking at it every day. We have a team that's very well dedicated to not only look at CBD. As you mentioned, the terpene profiles are of course super important, but more than that, different markets across the globe has different regulatory, opportunities, so to speak. So for the US, for example, you can look at a various different range of cannabinoids to add to the formulation, but also looking at Europe with many big markets opening up for recreational use and medical use. So I think this is only the beginning for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of the future will be biosynthesized companies being able to create large-scale, clean, pure ingredients that will be utilized in the CPG and the API side of the industries. Tell me this, the novel food application that you guys have managed to get on the list and be approved, how tiresome and painstaking was that process? And is it over now that you're on the list, or is it just one hurdle has been completed and there's still a bit of the journey to go?
I wish I could say that it's over, but it's of course not. And this is of course only for the UK market. But it's also very promising to see how the FSA has approached this. Although it's taken a lot of time, we're still making some progress. You can say, because in the European or in the EU, it's quite different. But so this is, as I would view it, the first step for us. We're on the list. But we're still not fully approved. But I think this could at least guide the consumer in terms of these products are being reviewed, and also are hopefully, when they are approved, will be safer to use from a consumer perspective.
Yeah, and I think you're right there. It all boils back again to the biotechnology companies being able to get up to speed and make these ingredients, because I think they'll get approved so quickly because the technology involved behind it, where at the moment the ingredient that people are using, the people who are giving the license are still not crystal clear on the exact purity and strength of each individual motion.
Exactly. I agree 100%.
So with the novel food application, as I said, that's just the UK. We see a lot of people getting carried away thinking that the novel food gives them the key to the golden gate or whatever it may be. So the UK market, you guys see as being a home for your products, or are you guys a global company where this is just the first step in the stage for you guys?
This is for sure the first step. This is also UK, the FSA, who has been pushing this agenda, and also been very clear on towards us as a company what to do and what is required of us. EU has not really reached that point yet, but will of course be looking into or we have submitted an application for the EU, but still no feedback and no results so far. But we would of course like to get our product registered and tested as much as possible in order to ensure the consumers that are safe to use.
Okay, and speaking of testing there, do you see there is an ample amount of testing facilities in the UK or in Europe, or do you think that's where there's still a lack of real capital and real technology is in the labs that are able to actually test products at a pretty high speed compared to, let's say, the government agencies and labs that are currently doing it?
Yeah, for sure. And what one of course could wish for is a universal standard, an SOP for all the labs, so we always get the same results. Because as of today, the bigger, more established labs, they don't have that much experience in testing cannabinoids, and also then you have in parallel you have smaller, more cannabis-driven labs, and they they maybe don't in all cases have the same SOPs and testing in the same ways. And if you don't test in the same ways, you will not be able to compare the results. So I think this is something that is very, very important for the future, not only for the consumer safety, but also from a regulatory perspective. Because when you're looking at THC levels, you need to ensure that there's no THC in the products.
Yeah, well, I think that's it. That THC trace seems to be the handcuff that's holding a lot of brands back, and I think that comes from, as you said, different labs are testing at different capabilities, and that doesn't give clarity to the brands and products. Do you see the election over in Great Britain having any sway on the end result of the novel food? We see your man Rishi Sunak coming out and saying he's against all drugs, he's going to punish everybody who used them, but your one Liz Truss seems to be more open to a cannabis industry growing in the UK.
Yeah, I do think though that the UK has shown until now that they are a progressive, quite liberal market, and open to have safe and regulated products. But when it comes to politics, it's of course impossible to foresee, and we just have to monitor the situation and see what comes out, and then we have to apply by the guidelines that are for the future.
Do you see Brexit as a hindrance to the UK market growth, or do you think it's been a good thing for them that the cannabis companies in Britain will actually be able to supply the British industry, that there won't be much competition? Because if you own companies that do business with the UK at the moment in Europe, it's a fucking nightmare. Things take like twice as long, the tax on top of all the orders that come with it. Do you think that's going to end up hindering the industry long term, or do you think it's going to cocoon it and allow the UK companies to be able to dominate their own home territory?
To be honest, I'm not an expert in this field, but my view would be that because what we saw when Brexit happened is that it created a lot of issues, and many companies had to basically cut down or wasn't able to sell to the UK at all because of the complexity, and also that you didn't really know what rules applied. But I think we have seen at least an improvement over the last years, and then over long term, of course, the UK will be a huge business partner to the EU. So I think they will find ways to smoothen this out. But of course, it would have been much easier if Brexit wouldn't have occurred, to be honest.
Yeah. And a quick jump around Europe now. Obviously, you're from up in the Nordic area of Europe. Do you see the Nordics still being pretty severe on CBD? We talked to a couple of guys from Finland and different areas where it almost seems like CBD is considered a Class A narcotic. Do you see that loosening over a degree, or is there a separate strategy in all the different states up in that part of Europe?
Yeah, I think we will see a different regulatory frameworks for different countries. Finland, Norway, but also Sweden to some extent. They have had fairly, but their view has been that CBD is maybe not a narcotic, but more a medical type product, and it should be regulated from the medical side. There's been a few verdicts also from the courts in Sweden, for example, But I think over time, when we see markets like Germany and bigger trade countries for the Scandinavian markets opening up, and EU also being very open and the same, with the same or similar type of regulatory framework. So I think over time this will change, but I think Scandinavia is more conservative for sure than the southern European market. So it will take time to get a clear framework in place, but long term, cannabis and CBD for sure is here to stay.
Yeah, I think we all got our fingers crossed that Germany executes their new industry perfectly, and that the capital generated from tax and whatnot is actually an example to the rest of the European countries, and that we can hopefully ride in the jet stream of how the German industry takes off.
I agree fully, but it will take time. We all need to be patient.
Yeah, well, this is it. It's not a sprint by any stretch of the imagination. You want to have thick skin, the ability to learn all sorts of topics in this industry. If you got into cannabis thinking it's going to be fun, you'll end up with a degree in biotechnology or in physics or in chemistry or something to do with some special tag that you didn't even think about. Felix, it's been great chatting to you. We just hit our time there. Is there anything you're looking forward to over the next 12 months in the European cannabis industry that the audience should know about?
You mean for us specifically or in general?
You guys specifically, yeah.
No, but we're very excited about the launch of the Voom products. We're doing some new things with Cannabis. We're launching a few new products there as well, but also for our brand Elevar with oil strips that we're going to extend the product line. So we have a lot of things coming on, and then we're also looking to some exciting products for the US market as well. So it is exciting times. For sure.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to keeping a track of the SpectrumLeaf story. And for everybody who wants to know more about the products from SpectrumLeaf, the website is there below. Highly recommend going and checking them out. They've got some of the most innovative products on the market at the moment. So, Felix, thank you very much for taking the time today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me.
Until next episode, everybody.